Hello and welcome to my reaction to the DC Comics solicitations for December of 2021. I'm got a different setup because I'm on vacation, but hopefully this will still be fun. We just had the DC Connect drop, so I'll be going through that. I don't know if CBR and Newsarama have the solicits yet, but that is my plan. So we're going to start with Batman number 118. This is by Josh Williamson and Jorge Molina. We don't have a backup listed, making me think this might be a 30 page rather than 20 or 22 page issue. Um, this is a 4 issue arc, and it does appear that Batman is staying monthly after the Fear State does its 3 months of double shipping. So I'm very grateful for that. Probably because Batman Catwoman is still coming out. James Tynion has revealed that the reason that Batman stayed bi-monthly is because they had been planning on Tom King's Batman Catwoman to run parallel to Batman and be their second Batman book. But they have the uh, Batman Catwoman coming out now. So hopefully that will mean that the Batman book will stay just once a month. And it'll be 4 months, so it'll take us from December through March. And I think that actually also means that will cover the time period of Shadow of the Bat, which is billed as a 12 issue weekly series. Now, we don't know if that's going to be all Detective Comics or if they're going to pull in other titles for this crossover. Um, but we'll get to that when we get to solicitations for Detective Comics. But Batman number 118 looks fun, probably oversized because there's no backup listed. The second issue, solicited for January, has a backup by Carl Kerschel about maps. So this might be a sequel to the black and white story that Carl Kerschel did. So I'm definitely going to get this issue just because I've been trying to collect all of the map stuff and it's fantastic. And I hope that with the recent announcement of a title that we will get to, I will be able to see Carl Kerschel and Becky Cloonan, who co-created and co-wrote a lot of Gotham Academy, crossing over at least in ideas with references and maybe cameos. That's what I really hope. Now we get to Detective Comics 1046 in December. This is a Fear State Aftermath, and it looks like it might be connected to the Detective 1027 short story that she did with Dan Mora. And of course, the backup continues the Harley Quinn Arkham Tower, which is going to set up a big, the big storyline for Shadow of the Bat. Now we come to the big announcement, Batgirls. This is starting in December. It stars Stephen Cass front and center, but Barbara Gordon is listed. It has a ton of variants. We'll have to see what the price on those are. I'd really like the Dan Hip one, who does a lot of Teen Titans Go, but that's a 1 in 50. So my guess is it's at least 25, possibly $40. I don't know if I could justify that. I may end up getting at least 2, possibly 3 covers. I don't know. I don't know if I want the main cover, but I do really like the logo. So just a lot of choices I'm going to have to make. It's going to really depend on how much I'm excited about the book based on what we see from it. But I am very excited that this is Becky Cloonan, as I mentioned before, and her partner, Will Conrad, who's a lot of writing, Jorge Corona, who did the We Are Robin series. It will be monthly. It is listed as an ongoing, and it is not quite everything I'd hoped in that I was hoping that we'd get Barbara as a Batgirl leader. I don't mind Barbara as Oracle, but without her being disabled, it's a little odd to see her confined to Oracle. And I know that this is going to create a lot of tension in the fan base. So I'm a little concerned about that. But we did get the solicitations for both of the the December and January Batgirls issues. So that is extremely exciting. We also got 2 pages of previews showing the clock tower exploding and Stephen Cass with really interesting art by Corona. It is an evolution of his style since We Are Robin, which is cool to see. I like seeing an artist still recognizably energetic, but has new elements of style. Now, Shadows of the Bat is amazing cover uh, by Irvin Rodriguez with Steph, Cass, Dick, Kate, Helena Huntress, and someone I don't recognize. It might be Commissioner Montoya, but it's impossible to really tell. And it does mention that the Bruce is out of the country, and the backup apparently is going to run by Matthew Rosenberg and Fernando Blanco, stealing him from Catwoman. This is going to maybe be similar to the Battle for the Cowl, but we don't know for sure because Batman is definitely not dead. He's just left Gotham. So that's the interesting choice that DC has made. Is we know that he's not going to die in Fear State or not even appear to be dead, but he is going to leave. And so we have two solicitations, one for January 4th and one for January 11th. It does say weekly, so there may be two more comics coming from Detective Comics, which is kind of ridiculous. Um, the artists for the first two issue are Ivan Heiss, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's a Brazilian, and Danny Miki on inks. I don't know, a lot to still be discovered, but it does look like it will be a very interesting um, 3 months, the next 3 months, which I think are probably uh, a lot of scrambling to figure out what's going next. And we have some very cool Ivan Heiss um, preview pages, technically 4 pages, one's a splash for the first issue of Detective Comics in January. Justice League 2021 annual. I have not been reading Justice League, so I don't really have a whole opinion. Catwoman Lonely City #2. This is the Cliff Chiang written and illustrated issue. The cover continues to look awesome, although she has a hoodie for some reason. So we still don't really know anything about this series except that it's a Cliff Chiang project for Black Label. So I love the fact that it is Cliff Chiang doing Catwoman because it's very reminiscent of Darwin Cook. We'll have to see how it works. Dark Knights of Steel continues. The solicitation gives us almost no information. They give us a bunch of information in the first thing, so I think they're just saying if you signed up for a 12-issue series based on the information on the first two solicits, then hopefully you'll be on for the long haul. I am curious about all the solicitation for January. It is the early part of January, but it is a lot of info, so it makes me wonder what they're going to be doing for um, next month, October solicitations for January itself. We have Jeff Lemire's 3-issue maxi large format miniseries for Swamp Thing, Green Hell. That's a really cool title, and Jeff Lemire is doing it with Doug Mahnke on art. I haven't read any of the Swamp Thing stuff, really. A lot of people really love it. A lot of high quality creators doing it, but it's just not something I find as interesting because I'm not as into horror. So a lot of people really go down the horror route, and but the preview pages do look cool. So there's a lot of preview pages, meaning that DC does seem to be trying to project an image of being on top of things despite the chaos that's going on right now. So I don't know if it's true that they're on top of things, but they're trying to project that. Now, an announcement I'm really excited about: World of Krypton, written by Robert Venditti, art by Michael Avon Oeming. That's really exciting because I love the way that Robert Venditti writes Kryptonians, especially with Clark Kent in Man of Tomorrow, Superman 78, and then Kryptonian Hawkman in Qatar Ol in his Hawkman series. That was just fantastic. So I'm hoping that that guy shows up because he was around in the time period that World of Krypton says it's supposed to be, which is, of course, the last days of Krypton, Jor-El, um, Kara Zor-El, and hopefully Jor-El's wife. So um, I'm very excited for this. And it's also a miniseries. Sorry, I didn't mention that. 6-issue miniseries starting in December. So first half of next year should be pretty exciting. It does look like it might be in 2 tones. So similar to black and white with some splashes of color. So that'll be interesting. One Star Squadron by Mark Russell and art by Steve Lieber. The art by Steve Lieber looks incredibly exciting. Unfortunately, I really dislike Mark Russell as a writer, so I will not be checking that out. But a lot of people are excited about for that, so hopefully people will enjoy that. This does look like an ongoing, which is odd. Milestone, I haven't been reading those, but they are getting a lot of cool references and reviews, so that's good. Absolute editions of Doomsday Clock and Metal, do not care really, because absolute editions are way beyond my price range. Although, what would I do if they released an absolute edition of something like, what would I want to? What would I actually be really tempted to get an absolute edition of? I honestly don't know. It's interesting that they've never done an absolute edition for any of Tom King's maxi series. I guess maybe the sales on those, even though they're critically acclaimed, the sales just aren't big enough to justify that. You have to have a real critical mass like Hush, even though Hush I really don't think deserves absolute, but it's definitely so popular that it got one. We do have a deluxe edition of Catwoman When in Rome. Amazing art, just truly amazing. And it's actually my favorite of the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale collaborations. Looks like a newcomer, Catwoman in highlight, black highlight. So that's just fantastic. And red splashes of color. Just Tim Sale is still just fantastic. A couple of Joker War. Looks like this is trade paper. Yeah, so these are the soft covers. I really appreciate that they're doing the Joker War saga. That includes the 7 backup issues, not backup, the 7 connected issues, including Catwoman, because Catwoman really does answer a lot of really important issues for the Joker War storyline, and it's very odd to me that they did it that way. I like it, but I don't think they signposted it quite enough. I could be wrong. They could have had some really good editor's notes saying, to see what happened to Catwoman and Riddler and Penguin, read Catwoman number 25. Maybe they did say that. I don't remember. White Knight, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, softcover. So Greedo Stranded is finally coming out in March of next year. This is a teen retelling of the origin story with art by Bel Hosala, and the art looks great. This, I think, is a really good idea. It looks cheerful, unlike a lot of the other stuff, but of course, we'll have serious issues of being stranded and Oliver's needing to mature. So that'll be cool. I'm hoping that this is kind of a companion piece to like Black Canary Ignite, because that's my favorite of the DC graphic novel collection for kids. Action Comic continues with War World. Aquaman Becoming continues. Aquaman Green Arrow Deep Target continues with number 3. It looks like they're going to be captured and going to have to break free. That's the one I'm most excited about this group, just because I really enjoy Brandon Thomas' writing. Vernon Clicquet's art is whatever. Covered by Marco Santucci. Again, it doesn't feel like they're putting A-list artists on this, but I'm sure it'll be quite enjoyable. We have Arkham City, Order of the World continuing. This is a mini series, and it's deliberately trying to follow up on Arkham Asylum, Serious Out and Serious Earth by Grant Morrison and Dave McKean, but it's set in current continuity. And James Stein's talked about how that's very exciting. I don't know how that's going to work, but it is an Azrael book, so I am definitely going to have to check it out. Batman 89. We've got the last 2 solicitations, and it looks like a variant cover. Catwoman looks like she's going to play a big part of that. We saw in issue number 2 that Catwoman is. So this is post Batman Returns. Very cool. Batman versus Big B continues. It looks like we've got like Hansel. Although I thought he died in Ever After. So I don't know if that's still canon. It's odd. But I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Bill Willingham has been talking about Batman versus Big B on his Substack, so you can check that out. Batman Urban Legends, we've got a Zatanna story by Vita Ayala. A Ace the Bat Hound by Mark Russell. Again, unfortunately not interested in Carl Mostert. I appreciate his passion and he can do good stuff, but it tends to be better in black and white. I really don't like it when it's colored. There's a lot of gray that just doesn't work very well with the kind of sort of potatoey lines that he sometimes falls into. We have a White Witch story, which is a Catwoman. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that they're doing Catwoman tie-ins and urban legends, because I'd rather collect the Catwoman stuff. Hopefully, if they do a trade, this will be collected in the Catwoman trade, but we'll have to wait and see. Black Manta number 4, Black Manta number 5. Not really planning on reading that because I don't do a lot of villain titles unless they're Christopher Priest. Blue and Gold number 5. This is art by Ryan Sook, so it looks like the time period issues is a bunch of catch up, so that's very exciting. Really like what's going on in Blue and Gold. Catwoman, Fear State Aftermath. So it looks like we're right. Poison Ivy is probably going to be reunified between the Harley Quinn and Catwoman titles that tie into Fear State. I think that's smart. It actually takes advantage of the, in my opinion, very dreadful Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy miniseries by Jody Houser a couple years ago. Um, I don't know if there's always a plan, but it does seem like a clever way to use what they did. Crush and Lobo, still not really reading this. The only reason I'm reading a Lobo title is because it has Superman in it, and by Tim Seeley, but we'll get to that later. DC Horror Soul Plumber, haven't been reading any of the DC Horror. DC versus Vampires #3. I'm not really planning on doing this because I haven't been really loving Matt Rosenberg's stuff, but James Tynion is really excited about the plot he came up with Rosenberg, so that's cool. Deathstroke Inc. #4. Looks like we're going to have Canary and Slade sort of come to a reluctant alliance at this point. I really hope that Slade is written very intelligently. Like he's got a lot of plans and he's got stuff that's going on that he doesn't tell. Because if you write him the way Tony Daniel did, and it's just kind of he's the perfect improviser, he's really smart. I think it's harder to write plans. I think that's why a lot of writers don't do it. But I think that it's worthwhile. So hopefully Josh Williamson has the space to do it. I'm still really disappointed that it's Howard Porter on art. I know he's very popular, but I just don't really enjoy his art. Future State Gotham numbers 8 and 9. So this takes us to second week of January. This is all about new Joker. Josh Williamson has dropped off of Future State Gotham, so that's probably good for the fact that he's writing Batman and Deathstroke Inc. and the ongoing Justice League Infinite/Infinite Frontier stuff that's going on. So he's doing a lot. Oh, and Robin, of course. So that's a lot of titles, and if he's on Batman, he needs to have full attention to that. So hopefully, Future State Gotham being taken off his plate will help with that. I don't know if it'll be good because the issue that Dennis Culver, the guy who's taking over, who is co-writing, so it's not that he's new to the series. The issue that he wrote by himself, just about Harley and Punchline, wasn't bad, but it wasn't blowing me away either. So I'm really curious to see how long this series lasts. I hope it gets at least 2 arcs. So this is actually the beginning of the second arc. So I would expect it to last at least until 16-ish. We'll see. We will see. Green Lantern continues. Haven't been reading that. Hardware is another milestone. I don't understand why they don't put the milestone in its own section. Maybe that would look bad, but it is its own thing, its own line. I like it when they put lines together. So if like they put all the young animal stuff or the what was the Wonder Comic stuff, like those should be together, and soliciting them apart from each other is bad marketing because they're aimed at the same audience. I don't understand. Harley Quinn #10, Laura Branca's on art. I'm glad that Riley Rasmus doing covers, but I will miss him. I hope that he continues to be the guy who's the main artist. The plot line seems like Harley. So it's pitched as a romantic comedy, but Kevin is the main character, the clown who Harley's been trying to mentor into heroism. And I really like that plot line, but I'm concerned about the fact that it looks like Ivy is manipulating him because I don't ship Harley Ivy. I don't ship Harley Joker because Ivy and Joker are both manipulators and abusers. Now I know that DC has been trying to push Ivy as some kind of anti-hero or victim, but unless you ignore a ton of stories, Ivy has been a cold-blooded manipulator and killer, and I don't like it when they just erase that. That's cheap redemption. It's not redemption at all because you've said they've done nothing wrong. If you've done nothing wrong, you don't need redemption. Harley Quinn, they've embraced the fact that she did do really bad things, specific bad things. They've taken away some of the really bad things like murdering children with video games. That was over the top and just bad. But they have kept a bunch of her murders and stuff. And so the fact that she is still a villain who has to actually seek redemption is one of the most appealing things about what Stephanie Phillips has been doing. And I really hope that that applies to Ivy too, because cheap redemption isn't redemption. It's morally incoherent. We have more of the Harley Quinn animated series tie-in book. This, again, is a 6-issue miniseries. Human Target, 12-issue miniseries by Tom King. Maybe I'll get into it, but I really didn't like the TV show Human Target at all. And so that doesn't make me excited. Um, this is a weird book for me because Tom King, I really didn't like what happened with Strange Adventures in issue 11. So I dropped that series. And yes, I know there's only one issue left, but I just really, I don't want that in my collection. It didn't give me any joy at all, even with the great art. So we'll have to see about Human Target. I Am Batman number 4. This is Fear State Aftermath. So it says the magistrate collapses. So as I thought, this is going to be an alternate ending for the magistrate. So it's not going to go into Fear State. The Jace Fox is continuing to be Batman somehow. And apparently there's a new villain trying to take him down. So that'll be fun. And we actually got I Am Batman number 5. So there's a new breed of Peacekeeper. So somehow, even though Magistrate itself collapses, there's still Peacekeepers out there. So that makes some sense. I mean, they put a lot of energy into developing the Peacekeepers as new villains. So clever. More Milestone, more Justice League. Justice League Incarnate. So it looks like Dennis Culver is coming alongside Josh Williamson on the Incarnate project. I'm concerned because that doesn't seem like he's quite ready for an event this size. Maybe he is, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Legends of the Dark Knight. This is actually they've stopped apparently commissioning 2 or 3 part stories, so I don't know what's going on with that. This is a digital first series. I don't know. This is one of the Batman titles I really don't understand what the point is. It's not Black Label, so it's not really artist focused, even though they did start with Derek Robinson from The Boys doing writing and art. But they haven't done that for a lot of them. So I don't understand what they're trying to push with Legends of the Dark Knight other than another Batman book. That doesn't seem worthwhile to me, just because if a Batman book is just another Batman book, maybe it sells, but it doesn't have a pitch other than that. And doesn't have the collector value because it's a brand new series and digital first, which just decreases collector value anyway. Nightwing 87, again, not a huge fan of Tom Taylor. Do really like Bruno Redondo. This is a very interesting in marketing this as every page leads into the other, so it's connecting. So if you took it apart and put it all into one thing, I think it'd be really cool if they did it as a fold-out book. I don't know if the logistics would actually work, but I think it would be really cool to see Nightwing as a fold-out book with poster. But that's the storytelling mechanic. Tom King did something similar, but I don't think he pulled it off early in his run. Well, the reason I didn't like the early part of Tom King's run is he did a lot of interesting things stylistically, but I don't think he figured out how to quite make it gel emotionally. I think Tom Taylor probably will, even though I think he's trying for, in my opinion, lesser effects than what Tom King eventually ended up being able to do. Pennyworth tie-ins continue. This is a 7-issue miniseries. That's an odd one. I was making a joke that the Teen Titans Go to the Movies theatrically released movie had this whole scene in the movie theater where Robin was like, I'm going to get a movie. And it turns out that the butler gets one first and then the cars get one first. And I know that Pennyworth and Batwheels are actually TV shows, but we are getting Alfred and Batmobile tie-ins before we get a Robin-focused piece of media. Now, we do have 3 different Robins in the Titans TV show, but it is an ensemble, so it's not really quite the same. It's a joke. I'm not really saying that Teen Titans Go is right, but it is funny how much those tie-in media have lined up with what happened. Maybe they knew. Maybe they knew that these things were in production. I don't know. Robin number 9. It looks like they've stretched out the original plot. I thought that number 8 was going to be the finale of the League of Lazarus tournament. Looks like Damien's supposed to fight a demon by himself. I really kind of wish that Damien would learn to be a good leader and he wouldn't have to fight by himself. Maybe that's actually just going to happen. Maybe the solicitation is misleading, but we'll have to see. Art by Roger Cruz. So unfortunately, we are having another fill-in. Last fill-in was Jorge Corona, who was a good fill-in, so not bad, but it is a little disappointing that we're not able to have Gleb Melnikov on every issue. And Simone DeMeo is doing a ton of the variants these days. Simone DeMeo is doing a lot of good work. Robin and Batman, this it doesn't look like it's actually Black Label, even though it's a Black Label format, but this Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, the Grayson Year One era story. I don't know if they're going to try and pitch this as actual Dick Grayson. Now, here's one I'm really excited for. Robin's #2. The Robin get assaulted at Dick's apartment. I don't think that's going to be a surprise. Um, and we have Tim, Steph, and Damien. I don't see, oh, there is Jason. So all 5 of the Robins on this cover by Baldomir Rivas. Variant cover by Nick Robles. Unfortunately, we don't have the variant cover for the first issue by Babstar or the variant cover by Nick Robles for this issue yet. But I am very excited for Robins. Team Celia Barbara, Baldomir Rivas. Scooby-Doo continues. Suicide Squad King Shark #4 of 6 continues to be Scott Collins on art, Tim Seeley. This is a digital first every 2 weeks, and then it's collected monthly. That's pretty cool. I am very excited for this series as well because it has Defacer from Nightwing and Orca also from Nightwing, and he's just tying it in, and I think that's very clever. Seeley's done a really good job of being a good plotter and really making things enjoyable for me in the last year, so I am excited to see more of that. Tom King's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, issues 6 and 7 for December and January. We still have Bilquis Evely on the main covers, really gorgeous covers. This art has been amazing. Steve Rude on issue 6 and Nicholas Scott on issue 7 for variants. Art-wise, this series has been amazing. I really haven't enjoyed Kara's characterization. I am not super familiar with Supergirl, so it's possible that it's completely consistent. But if you wrote Superman doing this, I would call him a jerk, and that bothers me. I could be wrong. If it has an audience, I'm glad for that. It hasn't been for me as much as I'd hope it had been. Superman 78, #5. The variant cover by Jamal Campbell just looks amazing. It looks like I'm just buying variants all the way through because I just love these variants and I'm really enjoying the first couple issues. The first issue of the series. I don't think I've read the second one yet. Superman versus Lobo. Hopefully this continues to be really fun. This felt like a weird crossover between Money Shot, his independent comic with Sarah Beatty, and the Superman and Lobo characters. Because there's a scientist who's basically the same kind of character as the main scientists in Money Shot. So that was fun. I really enjoyed the first one and actually added it to my collection, even though I don't like the size really because it doesn't fit anywhere. Superman, Son of Kal-El continues. Task Force Z, Zombies. We're adding Deathstroke, so that'll be interesting. Taylor killed him off, but now we have a way to get every dead character back in the Zombies task force, so that'll be interesting. Teen Titans Academy continues. Don't know what they're planning on doing with that because I have not been following anymore. Flash. So, interesting. Flash is visiting Gem World, so we'll have probably some Amethyst appearances. Yep, Amethyst is listed in the solicitations. I hope that there's more family stuff. I don't like the fact that there's been quite as much time and universe hopping, but he did do one of my favorite issues of the Flash ever with his meeting both Gold Beetle and his daughter. Those are really delightful issues of connection between Flash and family members, future and present. So that was great. Batman and Scooby-Doo continues. Joker #10 and 11. So that's January and February. Joker #10 continues the flashback element. Matthew Rosenberg is continuing. I am disappointed that we're doing so much Matt Rosenberg. It means I probably am going to have to buy the annual because it's probably going to tie in. It's not bad, and I do like the fact that it's Franco Francavilla. I have really liked his art for the first issue of Joker, but I really wanted James Tynion to just be able to focus and write this as a really great 14 issue, maybe 15 if you count the annual miniseries. And we'll see if Matt Rosenberg takes over the title after Tynion leaves, because it looks like he's trying to set that up. Joker 11, unfortunately, we are going to Giuseppe Camuncoli and Cam Smith. I don't know if that means he's an inker or if he's doing additional pages. But this is a major art shift. He does look like he's sort of matching Guillaume March, but I really like what Guillaume March has been doing on the Joker. Only 3 issues to come, so that takes us February, March, April. It will end in April. Hopefully it'll be good. Looks like the cannibal family is going to capture Joker, and that'll be a big confrontation. I just don't know who the big bad's going to turn out to be, because it feels like the cannibal family isn't quite big enough. Swamp Thing comes to its conclusion in issue 10, and hopefully this will be all collected with the Future State stuff, so it's all one big miniseries. Um, Joker Puzzle Box by Matt Ronsberg. Maybe that's going to fold into Joker. I don't know. I don't know what they're planning with that. Titans United continues. Wonder Woman 782, and she goes to Sweden to mourn Siegfried, apparently. Um, it's probably part of the whole love triangle that looks like they're pushing between Steve, Siegfried, and Wonder Woman. Not a terrible thing, but I hope that there is a major plot line similar to her trying to get home. Because I feel like they've done a lot of trying to get home because the Odyssey thing, Greek mythology, but I'd really like it if they leaned into Wonder Woman being a huge part of the modern DCU, just really a really important character. Wonder Woman Evolution continues. This again looks like it's basically the last couple chapters of Half Spacesuit Will Travel done with Wonder Woman. Um, Let's see a bunch of collections going on, and that brings us to the end of Solicitations. Some really good stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how Batgirls is and Robin's is, and Shadow of the Bat in Shadow of the Bat in January, and then of course have to get the January issue of Batman with the maps back up. So we'll see if I pick up the first issue of the run, but I'm definitely picking up the second issue with that backup with maps because I really love that. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time if you did. And we'll see you next month with January's full solicitations instead of just this sort of half solicitations we got this time.